That's the most important part of the day. You go to sleep feeling successful and feeling like things are working out for you beautifully, that you're just really happy about yourself and your future. You're happy about it. And you go to sleep while doing that. Then that will happen to you. Like everything is happening to you right now for what you do when you go to sleep. Because that's what you do every day, and that's what's happening to you every day. Because whatever you feel when you go to sleep tonight is what's going to happen to you for the next few days and for the next few years. And everything in your life is already set right now. What you're going to say 20 years to a man named Ashmagash, it's all set, and it's going to happen. Unless you change it. And you have the privilege of changing it. Because you can go to sleep at night pretending, or let's say like counting $100,000. You get a $100 bill, study it, and learn to count $100,000 in your imagination, and start doing it when you go to sleep at night. And the first night that you're right in the middle of counting it, and you go to sleep, then you could decide you don't want it. It's no good, you're going to get it. And it's not going to be for nothing. There'll be a very good reason you got it. You could never, like, I told you the story about Tony, right? Yeah, Tony came to me and said, this stuff that you're teaching, this positive thought, to me is the silliest fucking thing in the world. He says, but there's one thing you could do for me that would convince me that you're right. I want you to tell me something that's going to happen that I know will never happen, and it cannot happen. I took the challenge and started thinking of something until I came up with it. We had the Arthur Murray studio in Reno. Reno was 40,000 people. It was on the very last page, in the last group of a thing that was mailed to us every week about what every Arthur Murray studio did. How many interviews they had, how many people came in, how many this, how many that, how many the other thing. And I talked to Tony, and I said, Arthur Murray will throw a convention for the Reno studio. Tony said, that will never happen. I says, well, when it does happen, will you believe? He says, of course, because it's not going to happen. It's stupid. We're the smallest goddamn Arthur Murray studio. We're the very last number on the very last page of the book that comes out every week. You can't do that. Okay. I did an exercise of I'm looking down, and I'm looking at my hands, and I can hear a huge crowd. You know that sound that a huge crowd makes. I'm sitting there looking at my hands. I hear this huge crowd. I start raising my sight until I see two microphones. I see a microphone right here and a microphone next to me. Now I see the microphone and I look up and see the crowd. They've come to see me. And I look to my right, and there he is. Arthur Murray is walking up the stage, and he comes down and sits beside me to talk on that microphone. I told Tony that Arthur Murray will throw a convention for the Reno studio, and he says, this can't happen, it's impossible. When it was all over, I went to Tony and said, Tony, we did it. You said it was impossible, it couldn't be done, and we did it. He says, yeah, but it's none of this positive shit you're talking about. He says, you're probably the smartest man I've ever met in my life. You did everything right. You earned it. I mean, we went to 800% of par. People were writing us. We were getting letters every day. What the fuck are you doing? I would always answer it. I'm not doing anything. I'm just doing the best I can. We hit 800% of what we were supposed to do, and Arthur Murray threw a convention in Las Vegas for us. And I went to Tony when this was all over with. I says, Tony, see? And he says, see hell. He says, you're the smartest son of a bitch I've ever met in my life. But you didn't just dream this shit up and make it happen. It happened because you're a very good man, you're a smart man, and you did 800% of what you were supposed to do. And Arthur Murray threw a convention for you in Las Vegas. It's got nothing to do. And he sent me the book with his signature. I've got the book right here. And Neville signed it. That's his signature. This book could be worth something. Because it's Neville's signature, and he sent me the book because he had wanted testimonials. And I wrote him a testimonial because this girl that I had gone with for years, and we'd been broken up for maybe 2 years, that she got in touch with me and said I had to go to the Wilshire Ebell Theater on Sunday on Wilshire Boulevard, and the Wilshire Ebell Theater, and she maybe just promised to go see this guy Neville, and I went for just one purpose, just to find out what a fraud he is and how much money he wanted. And when he came on stage, he says, we want to get one thing perfectly clear right now. He says, the plate will not be passed today. If you want to give money today, you're not allowed. And you are never to give me any money. If I ever ask you for money, get away from me, because I'm just a fraud like everybody else that wants your money. If somebody that wants to teach you how to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, and needs your money, is a fraud. He doesn't know how to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. He says, I do. He says, I don't want your money, and I never will want your money. And I'm thinking, how is this guy going to get around this? He's got to be some kind of fraud, because everybody had always been a fraud. But he was not a fraud. He gave us something to do. He says, I'm going to give you something to do to prove that I am wrong. Mm-hmm. He says, I'm going to teach you right now how to climb a ladder. And what you must do to prove that I'm wrong is do what I'm telling you to do. And if it doesn't work out, I'm a fraud. I don't want your money. He says, but this is the way you climb a ladder. He says, first of all, right now, picture a ladder in front of you. Picture it. You can do it. Close your eyes. Picture it. Take your imaginary left hand. Reach out and take hold of the side of the ladder with your imaginary left hand. Okay. Now with your imaginary right hand, reach out and take the other side of the ladder. Now with your imaginary left foot, lift it up and put it on the first rung. Now push yourself up and start climbing the ladder. When you get to the top of the ladder, climb back down. Climb back up, climb back down. Now, what you have to do, and you must do this, or nothing I'm teaching you will work. You must put inside your wallet, where when you open your wallet, you have to read it. You say, I will not climb a ladder. I will not climb a ladder. You've got to write it on the mirror where you shave in the morning. You've got to write it. I will not climb a ladder. You've got to, and he says, now you must do all this, or nothing I'm teaching you will ever mean anything to you, and it'll be no good. You must do this. You must mean in your heart that you will not climb a ladder. You mean it, and you write it down. I will not climb a ladder, but you put it down. I won't climb a ladder everywhere, so that you know night and day that you will not climb a ladder. And for 3 nights, I want you to climb a ladder to sleep. When you go to bed to sleep, take an odd position in bed, one you don't ordinarily sleep in. If you don't ordinarily sleep on your right side, sleep on your left. If you don't sleep any other way, sleep on your back. If you don't go to sleep that way. Then you've got to climb the ladder while you're in an odd position in bed, not just gone off to sleep. You have to climb the ladder until you sleep for 3 nights. And when you wake up in the morning, you've got to write it. Make sure it's something you see every day. I will not climb a ladder. But you're going to climb a ladder in your sleep for 3 nights. I did all that. And all the other things. He said, you've got to do this. Otherwise, what I'm teaching you is not. He says...
Neville Goddard says, okay.
Yeah. He says, next Sunday, I'm going to have another meeting, just like this one, in the back of this building. But that's only for people that have climbed the ladder. If you've climbed a ladder, come to that meeting. Because you swore you wouldn't, and you did. And I thought, this guy is fucking nuts. But I took his challenge, and I climbed a ladder to sleep for 3 nights. My mother called me and said she wanted me to come see her on Saturday. She had something she wanted to talk to me about. Now, I'd been sick. I had dengue fever, and I almost died with it. It came on me 3 times. And so I didn't have any money or a car or anything. And my mother wanted to see me, so I took a bus to Santa Monica. And I get off the bus, and I'm walking to the house.
Mm-hmm.
My father's on top of the roof. And he said to me, "Son, would you hand me that bucket of paint?" I picked up the bucket of paint and I almost fainted because I'm halfway up the ladder. And I had written, "I won't climb a ladder on everything." It was on the wall. It was exactly like he said. You've got to put it everywhere you look. I'm not going to climb a ladder. I'm not going to climb a ladder. Oh God, it's written there. It's written here. And you mean it. You mean you will not climb a ladder. You refuse. You're going to prove that fucking Neville is an asshole and you will not climb a ladder. Okay. I get off the bus. I'm coming home. Dad's on the roof, says, "Would you hand me that bucket of paint?" I pick up the bucket of paint and I'm halfway up the ladder and I thought, I climbed a fucking ladder. Just like this guy said. And he said, anybody that climbs the ladder can come back next Sunday. It's a much smaller meeting in the back of the Wilshire Bill. So I went to that meeting the next Sunday. And he says, now you all climbed the ladder. He says, and you could have just as easily made $1 million in cash as you did in climbing the ladder. I'm going to teach you how to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, and you're never to give me a dime. I do this because I like to do it. And bingo, I took off. From that day forward, $25,000 was like $250,000 now.
Mm-hmm.
And in the next couple months, I made $25,000 just doing the exercise like he said. And I'm going to see him, with him in the meetings, and he's going over all this shit. And I wanted an authorized studio, and I've never been able to get one. I had one in just a few weeks. So I did the exercise of getting my own studio, and bingo, I got it, just like that. And that's been my life ever since.
You made millions.
Huh?
You made millions.
Yeah.
Multi-millionaire.
I was, at one time I was about 3 million. But I had an unbelievably interesting life because I have no worries. I have nothing to worry about because I know if I get into any kind of trouble that I can imagine my way out of it, because the thing that runs your life and everybody else's life is what you're thinking when you go to sleep. That's what runs your life completely. If you take my advice, you will never go to sleep depressed. You will never go to sleep unhappy. If you're unhappy, then think about something. It's just the way he said, if you have no shoes, if you want to be happy, notice a man that has no feet. And you think, God damn, I can't even afford a pair of shoes, but look at this poor asshole. He's walking around on stumps and a chain, He says, that's what you do. And I went to his meetings. I got my own studio right away, and then I wanted a big studio, so I got Montreal. And just everything has worked out great. Because that's, I know if...
Neville Goddard, he's a good man.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't take it down.
Yeah.
And the reason I don't do a lot of things is because what happens when you do something, you get what you want, but you don't get it for nothing. Say if I were to do an exercise right now that I got $3 million in cash, really worked on it, and really did it, I would get it. But I would never be able to convince you that I got it by thinking that, because you'd tell me how I really got it. I worked my fucking ass off. I was up night and day. I had these meetings, I branded, and I started talking to people. I started campaigning, I started this, and pretty soon I've got $3 million. Well, I don't want to do that. I'm just happy. I've got a room. I've got a life. Because if I do something, says, if the purpose of life is not to be happy, then you can stuff it up your ass. I don't want it, because I'm happy. And if I did an exercise to make $1 million, I'd make it, but I'd earn it. But it wouldn't just
fall out
pop
of
through
the
the ceiling and fall in my lap.
But
$1 million, bloom. No, there's always the
it works, and you've experienced it.
Yes. Oh yeah. I have absolutely no doubt that I could I could get a $100 bill from somebody, and I could study it day and night. It's with me. And I would start counting them, and I'd start smelling it. I'd feel it. I'd work with it, and I'd count it. I'd count it. I'd count it, and pretty soon I could count $100,000, no problem. I'd do it every night going to sleep.
In your imagination before you go to sleep, as you fall asleep.
And then the money would come to me, but I would earn it.
It would come to you in a natural way.
Yes, it'd come through me because...
But you would get it.
Like I'd have an idea where I could do this, and I'd have to go to these people and teach them things and do things. I'd have to do something.
Yes.
So I don't do anything. I just go to sleep enjoying the room.
Because you've done it, and you've done it for so many years, and it's time to relax.
That's right. And because there was a time when I had to have a girl where I'm getting laid all the time. It's all there is to it. I mean, that at one time in my life, the greatest thing in the world was to get laid by a girl you've never laid before. The next greatest thing in the world was laying a girl that you haven't laid for 3 months. And I like to get laid at least 3 times a day.